¿Qué tal? Estamos con Keith Fiveson, él es CEO de ITESA. Hello, Keith.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Keith, which are the key elements to design a conscious customer experience?
Okay, thank you. We're doing a lot of work in collaboration with the Romanian Consciousness Quotient Institute. And when we look at designing a customer experience, there's really 6 key elements that we're working on in the corporate environment that also apply to our personal lives. So when we look at consciousness, how are we conscious? We're conscious in our mind, our body, our emotions, our spirit, the social connections that we have, as well as the insight that we have. So what we've done is we've taken this personal approach into the corporation, and we look at the knowledge of the organization. You know, what is the organization doing with IT systems and infrastructure to empower individuals with knowledge, with information, with wisdom and imagination? And then the second area we look at is the physical environment. So what are companies doing in the physical area to really empower great experiences? That has everything to do with the lighting, the colors, the design, the access, the bathrooms, the carpets, the floors, everything. So it's around this physical environment, even our noses, the smells, the sights, the sounds, the colors. So it's creating an experience for the individual, right? Then the third area is the emotions. So how are we helping individuals? Last year I talked to you about emotional intelligence. So this has a lot to do with it. How are we helping individuals to understand what their role is? Every company has a play, they have a story. And everyone in the company has a part in that story to be able to communicate the story to customers and to be able to provide the kind of emotions, the kind of words, the kind of listening, the hearing, the seeing, that I hear you, I value you, and I understand you, right? And then the spirit. The spirit is the leadership of the organization. The leadership of the organization really provides the vision, the vulnerability, the inspiration to help individuals move forward. So they're really, in a very big way, providing the capability for the organization to be inspired, to wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to work. I like the people I'm working with, they inspire me. It's not just about the money, it's about the inspiration, right? And then the next area is social. This is a huge area right now, because companies, because of social media, are really being challenged. There's a new revolution going on. Social media is toppling countries. Egypt, social media, people got together. Right? We start looking at social media as a revolution. And what's happening is companies are trying to figure out, who are we? How do we create communities internally? How do we empower our individuals to really talk to each other? And then what are our principles? What are our values? And how do we act in society using social media and be more vulnerable and more transparent? So this is huge. The last area is insight. We look at measurement tools. So companies that, if you look at all the areas, if you're not measuring, if you're not providing insight to say, how are we doing? You know, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? Are we being vulnerable enough to really accept the fact that we may have done something wrong, that we don't listen to the customers and we need to listen more, that we need to listen more to our employees to really make the changes that we need to provide a different quality of experience. So all of these things, the 6 areas of consciousness, really apply very well, strongly, in fact, in the corporate area. And we're working to go ahead and do the research and the development to prove this. We have a corporate consciousness quotient inventory that we're right now looking at companies to prove out the theory on the corporate side, and it's already been validated on the personal side, that people who are more conscious, higher performers, they show up, they connect, you know, just in general, they get more out of life and they're more present, you know? So that's consciousness and customer experience.
Very interesting. Do you have an example of a contact center, we should say, before and after this kind of work?
We have examples I'm working with some very big companies right now on customer experience. And the work that we're doing in the insight area specifically is looking at the analytics of how are we performing with our customers. And we're using the insight elements to go ahead and redesign the customer experience for the company. Now, this is a very big effort because traditionally companies have looked at profits in lieu of customers. They've squeezed the customers for as many profits as they can. So really creating a better customer experience is around creating higher degree of loyalty and a higher degree of advocacy based on doing things right. And it's a continual process. One of our clients is in the cable industry, and we're doing some big work there. I don't want to tell you who the client is because we're under non-disclosure, but in the cable industry. We also have great examples of companies that have been doing it right. Amazon.com, Zappos, Starbucks. These are companies that are very focused on the experience, and the employees are present. You know, even the website. There's a whole other digital area where we're actually moving towards digital experiences in lieu of human experiences. The human experience is very important, but what's happening because of the technology is more and more we can access information, we can access data, we can go onto the web, we can go ahead and manage our experience, and we just want it to work. And if we do have a problem, though, that's sort of like the 800-pound gorilla, right? We have a problem, we call someone up, we say we have this problem, and if they don't take care of us, then it's a bigger problem, right? So that's what we're focusing on is how to really look at experiences on these 6 levels, how to bring them together in terms of measurement, and then how to improve the experience to get a higher degree of loyalty and a higher degree of advocacy. So what you have is you have good profits as opposed to bad profits. You know, just very shortly, I'm at this wonderful hotel here in Mexico City. We've paid a lot for the room, and yet, at the same point, they charge me every day for the internet. Why? Why? Why shouldn't the internet be free, right? So, you know, we have these examples where, you know, if you want me to be loyal, then treat me in a way that, you know, is valued and respected. You know, I can go to a cheaper hotel and I get the internet for free. Yeah. So, you know, it's a very complex, you know, scenario. We have all this great technology out there. So why aren't companies using the technology to make the experience better? Why aren't they using the profits to go ahead and train the people more appropriately, so that they really understand how to go ahead and handle my problem, right? My inquiry. So those are some of the questions that we have. We don't have the answers, but the one thing that I've learned is if you're asking the questions, if you have the insight and you're asking the questions again and again and again and again, right, you'll find the answers, because then you're open enough to find the answers. And, you know, the only question is will you listen? Yeah, so.
Okay, how do you imagine the customer interaction in 10 years?
Well, this is a very big question. This is a very, very big question. In 10 years, it will be 2022, right? So in 10 years, what we'll wind up seeing is technology will change everything. There's a couple of schools of thoughts around this, right? One is there's a scientist that there's both of them. Ah, okay. Now I feel powerful. Yes. So there's a scientist that I really like, a fellow by the name of Ray Kurzweil, and Ray Kurzweil predicts that by 2025 we will be able to go ahead and put a chip in our heads for backup data, right? And it's the technology is already there. So imagine if we were able to have this kind of technology, and we were able to basically, right now there's technology that I can implant in my head, and I can control the cursor, and I can control a computer just with my thoughts. True, Very true. So if we look at that as an evolution, there are people who are getting plastic surgery, there are people who are getting reconstruction. Why not people who would be putting this into their bodies to have a communication onto the World Wide Web, to go ahead and place orders, to connect and communicate? It's not outside the realm of imagination. But yet at the same point, the interesting thing for me is that we all long in a very, very physical way to have community. We're wired for connection. We're wired to connect with each other in all of the areas that I've talked about, with our mind, with our bodies, with our spirits, with our emotions, socially, with insight. So I don't think that will ever go away. And the area of customer experience, I believe, will continue to grow, because of the social revolution. We will not take it anymore. We will not stand for experiences that are not great experiences. We'll vote with our wallets. We'll vote with our dollars and cents, and we'll make those decisions accordingly. And the number of companies that are out there who are doing it right will continue to go ahead and grow. Amazon.com is a great example. I spend probably $5,000 a year on Amazon.com. And the reason I do, I never speak to anybody. I have a digital relationship. And the reason I do is because they do it right. I never have to, and they also make suggestions, so I feel like they know me. I feel like they're, talking to me all the time. So I think the future is going to be very exciting. Technology will continue to be closer to us, smaller with us. The number of cell phones and personal devices is 10 times the number today, 10 times the number of computers, laptops. So the technology will get smaller. We'll be more connected than ever before. And yet, at the same point, the companies that provide better experiences will be the ones that win. So I hope that helps. That's my idea.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Thank you, Keith.